Hi, and welcome to Female Entrepreneurs Magazine, your go-to platform for ambitious women who are ready to take the business world by storm. I'm your host, Angel France, and each week we'll dive into the latest strategies, stories, and success secrets from the most inspiring female entrepreneurs around the world. Hi, and welcome to the Real Female Entrepreneurs. Some people tiptoe out of their comfort zone, but our next guest, she kicks that door down and decorates the place in style. She has rewired and rewritten her story from teacher to real estate queen of Canary Wharf to author of unforgettable stories, proving that reinvention isn't a one time event, it's a lifestyle. She's all about growth, grit, and gorgeous possibilities. And today, she's spilling the real tea on transformation, the messy bits, the magic bits, and why the best chapters are always the ones you write for yourself. Warning, after this conversation, you might just find yourself plotting your own delicious escape from the expected and familiar. Please join me in giving a warm Female Entrepreneurs Magazine welcome to Tanya Burger. Welcome. Oh my God.
Thank you very much for that very kind welcome.
Oh my God. You kick down doors. Come on. Don't mess with you. You're a firehouse.
That was a lovely welcome. Thank you. And good evening, everyone.
Welcome. Oh my God. I love it. All right. Okay. What started all of this? You were a teacher. What started this entrepreneur journey to like flip the switch and make that spark just happen?
Do you know that I definitely believe that life is a journey. And I think I was programmed to believe through circumstances that I was supposed to be this type of nurturing person. And there's nothing wrong with that. Please don't take me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, but that I was meant to be this nurturing person. So I think by default went into teaching. I was a very successful teacher, but went into it by default. So my parents divorced when I was 4 and my dad remarried, and I had a younger sister when I was 9. So they were interior designers. And when my younger sister was 6 weeks old, they went back to work. My stepmom went back to work, and basically I raised my sister. I was 9 years old. So she was very career orientated. Hats off to her. Parenting isn't for everybody. But so I raised my younger sister. And then I think by default just went into teaching. So initially in the early years, and then as a young adult, I came to the UK as a supply teacher, what you call a locum teacher. And came over to the UK the first time in my 20s as a supply teacher. And that's when I first got exposed to children with learning barriers. So because I'd only done early years in South Africa, I hadn't had any exposure to them. And then I saw how many children actually had learning barriers within mainstream education. So once my own son was born, who was born in London, I decided to go back to South Africa and to raise my son there in South Africa and to give him his cultural roots. So, and it was only then that I started diversifying into special needs education, which is what I did until very recently. So I've had the opportunity to be a principal of a pre-primary school. I've been a head of phase in a primary school. I've worked in every kind of institution that you can think of, from nursery right up to further education college.
Wow. And so you grew up in South Africa. That's why you brought your son back to raise him there.
Swiss father, British mother, but raised in South Africa.
Wow. That's amazing. That had to be fun and unique.
Very multicultural.
I love multicultural. That works so much. I think people having a multicultural background just gives so much diversity to the world and uniqueness.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then when you start traveling and exploring the world and you realize how diverse different cultures are, and you start tasting foods from different countries and exploring those cultures, it's just amazing, as well as the beautiful aesthetics of visiting other countries.
Definitely. All right. So
teacher first.
Are you still teaching?
Yes. So in the process of teaching, overgiving in every situation, working myself to the bone, giving 120% of myself to every single role, being this wonderful, amazing, nurturing person. People became so happy to let me do everything, to run the show, but without giving me the credit. So I never made it beyond middle leadership for that reason, because it was like, and I think that just, it was meant to be the catalyst to push me. But I'll get as far as like sort of like middle leadership inside a mainstream school, or middle leadership inside a further education college, or whatever the case might be. But I would never actually get to that senior leadership, like executive head teacher, executive principal role. And so I noticed that people were happy to take the credit for what I was doing, for all the hard work, and try to keep me small, because if they kept me small, they could kind of control the amount of growth that I unfolded in, and the personal developments and the professional developments, and it kept them feeling safe. So the catalyst was my most recent role. I was a SEN lecturer and curriculum lead at a further education college. Made a lot of changes for the good of the students, for the greater good of the college and for the students. But then my employer took the credit for what I did. And I think that was the ultimate push to make me make that decision. Like, there isn't ever going to be a perfect time.
Right.
This particular time is better than, let's say, when my son was younger and still needed me more. If I was going to make a break, if I was going to make any changes, it was going to have to be now. So it was a very drastic move, very, very, very drastic, but necessary, because in the process, I had become bored and very unstimulated. Although I had diversified along the way and maybe changed settings, I require a lot of stimulation. I'm just one of those people that needs a lot of stimulation. And I was getting so bored. I was getting so bored. Like, I'd reached that ceiling and there wasn't any further for me to go. So I decided to do something very drastic, and decided to do the real estate.
So now, real estate, it's still nurturing people. You're still helping them, and you're still nurturing them and finding what fits them. So,
yes, but on my terms, because I'm now a self-employed estate agent. So it's definitely on my terms.
Definitely. You have just flipped that switch. Now, you're also, am I understanding this right? You're a youth author, correct? You write.
Yes. Okay, so it was a childhood dream. As a child, I had learning barriers. I had ADHD with inattention and dyslexia. So I struggled to learn how to read, but it was a dream of mine to be able to write a children's book. It was something deep-rooted inside of me. And when I was 16, we had a very, 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 very clever, very smart, savvy teacher who gave us a literary book that had many, many chapters. And we had to read this book and then answer a book review based on the book. And it was an assignment for marks. And she read the first chapter to the class. And she said, if you want to know what's going to happen next, you're going to have to read the book yourself. And it had such a profound effect on me because it was about a boy soldier. Now, I can't remember the name, but it happens to be one of my favorite books, because what happened was I forced myself to learn how to read and overcame enormous barriers, because I actually ended up, I haven't completed it yet, but I actually ended up doing a part of my master's in psychology. So from not being able to read, sorry about the messages popping in, that's just work. So from not being able to read to getting to the point where I could actually access further education and get to that point where, I started working towards my master's in psychology. There were even as a side story, that was a huge, huge challenge to overcome. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I totally understand that. But yeah. So do you have just one book? How many books have you written so far? Do you have
one? And I've self-published. I submitted my books to publishing companies, and they said, sorry, but you're not a household name. Nobody knows you from a bar of soap. So we're not prepared to take the risk and publish your book. So I published myself.
Can you give me the name of the book?
Sure. It's A Pocket of Potatoes.
Cute.
It's about a young girl, a young South African girl. It's a very tragic story. She grows up in an abusive home. She gets sold into an arranged marriage. There's a lot of traumatic experiences that she goes through. I won't spoil it, but it has a very good ending. And she gets trafficked as a young girl. She gets trafficked, and it's a fictional novel, so don't worry. She gets trafficked from South Africa to Dubai, and manages to break free from her perpetrators, and it's
Okay, but
very
I believe.
suspenseful.
Wait, what?
It's very suspenseful. I knew that if I was going to write, my first books would be for children. Later on, I'll write motivational books, but my initial books will be for children. But definitely young adults, because of the fact that there are so many issues, so many social justice and geosocial issues that as young adults, they are not exposed to. For example, the huge rate of unemployment in our countries, the huge social injustices like homelessness in our countries. It's almost like all the real issues are glossed over instead of teaching our children that these are real issues, and we as a society need to find creative solutions for them. So, for example, in science, we have a lot of exposure to our young people with science in terms of let's find creative solutions to the issues that we are facing. For example, desalinization of water. But what are we doing for the social issues, social economic issues? Our young adults are not exposed to that at all. And I think if we did expose them in a healthy way, we would be able to come up with creative solutions to homelessness, designing homes that were affordable, or finding creative ways of making housing affordable for young adults leaving home for the first time, wanting to purchase a home, being able to be independent and gain that independence,
Definitely. Okay, let's go back to your book that you have right now. I see all these other situations panning out in books right now. I have my brain like going wild for you. So
it's the ADHD in me.
It's okay. It's okay. So I'm looking at this going, oh my God, trafficking is such a huge thing these days.
Yes.
And you have a book about that. I think every teenager or young, right, a little bit under should read that. They need
Absolutely.
to know what's going on.
And what's even more awesome is that I included pictures at the beginning of every chapter for children or young adults that were struggling to stay focused, your learning barriers, children that struggled with concentration, children that struggled to stay motivated, because it's a chapter book and there's quite a couple of chapters. So I include pictures at the beginning of every chapter to help people to stay on board and be able to get to the end of the book to find out what happens at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I would read, but I didn't comprehend because it bored me.
Yes,
it did.
yes.
And so
Exactly.
they were like, oh, she's got a problem, but they never
Switch
could figure
off.
out a problem. And so I was bored. As soon as I started reading business books, I consume them like there's no tomorrow.
Exactly. I'm the same with psychology books. I do exactly the same.
Psychology books.
I do exactly the same thing with psychology books. I eat them for breakfast.
Yeah. Love it. All right. If you were going to write a letter to your 18-year-old self, what would you go back and tell her?
I would say that the journey that she's chosen is a very difficult one, but she shouldn't be put off by the challenges that she's going to face. And she's going to have to let go of a lot of people along the way that can't go with her where she's going. And she's going to have to let go of a lot of things. She's going to have to let go of a lot of self-limiting beliefs. And in the process, she's going to do a lot of healing, which was necessary. So the journey that she went on was not only to heal herself, but in the process to heal others, because she'll turn around and she'll stretch out her hand and she'll take others with her.
Oh, So sweet. So whenever I hear anybody say "let go," it just reminds me of that song of Frozen, "Let It Go," and I'm like, "Oh, love that." Yeah, it's good. It's one of your songs, just so you know.
We'll add it on.
We are. All right. What is like one key strategy or decision that you've made in business that made a shift in how you're growing?
I think mindset, definitely mindset. You have to imagine it first before it will manifest in the 3D. So you are only limited by your own self-limiting beliefs. If you can imagine it, you can create it. So the first clue is, or the first key before you want to implement anything, is to try and imagine it. Use a vision board if it helps you. I use a gratitude journal. I start thanking for the things that I anticipate that I'm going to receive before I've even received them, and speak them as if they are. And that helps me to put my goals into perspective and to have focus as well. So I can go back to them, I can edit them, I can amend them, I can add on to them, I can build onto them. Because luckily you can tear the pages out. You can say, oh, I've outgrown that. I'm going to add on, edit it.
Oh, that's just too small thinking. I need more.
I need to expand on that a little bit. Yeah, so
More.
definitely mindset.
All right. What about a myth about being an entrepreneur you wish that most female entrepreneurs would stop believing or stop saying to other people? Because I mean, that happens all the time.
Personally, I think that women feel that they have to compete with each other. So whatever market you are in, it's probably very competitive. But I don't think that as women we need to compete with each other. Real estate, for example, is incredibly competitive. There's probably like 5 or 6 other estate agencies in any given area where you're going to be operating. So I don't think that you need to feel that you have to compete against anybody. Definitely not other women in the profession. If anything, we should be encouraging each other, building each other up.
So, like, I have other people who have magazines for females. I have them on here. I haven't been on theirs, but I have them on here because I
Yes,
don't feel I'm in competition with anybody at
absolutely
all.
wonderful.
And the same thing with you, because I'm sure there are a ton of real estate agents out there.
Absolutely, absolutely, definitely. And
Yeah.
they might have a bigger brand name. They might be bigger fish in the sea. They might have well-established franchises, and you might be one little lone ranger, a self-employed estate agent. But then you have to ask yourself, what do you provide that's uniquely different to other estate agencies out there? And then if a client was doing research and wondering whether they should choose you as opposed to like a big franchise estate agency, then you can compare and you can have a conversation with the client and you can say, this is what I offer, this is what they offer. You decide what you're looking for and which one best fits you. And
Yeah.
there's something for everybody.
Yeah, most people know on here that I'm an insurance agent for in the United States for health, and I'm referral based only, and I have a very large clientele base. But it's because
Fantastic.
I'm like, you can get me. You're not going to go through Sally, Joe, and Sue to get to me.
Absolutely. Be accessible. Be
Yeah,
accessible.
yeah,
Um, yeah. Be approachable.
yeah. Because that's it.
Yeah.
It's what is your unique quality? Because we're all different. That's it.
Yes.
All right. So we
Absolutely.
know you have a 22-year-old son. All right. And we know you still teach, you're real estate, and you're a writer. Now, my question to you is everything's a beautiful chaos. I know mine is. So the question is, how do you balance it if you do without losing yourself or things you really want to do?
I think in my case, I had to wait just a little bit because of the fact that I raised my son on my own. I had to wait just a little bit until he was a little bit older, when he needed me maybe a little bit less, before I started to implement all these crazy ideas. COVID also helped because COVID kind of said, okay, we've got a lockdown. Are you going to procrastinate a little bit more, or are you actually going to start writing that book? And that was the perfect opportunity, because those 6 weeks or 8 weeks, for however long we had to lock down and stay at home, the ideas were really spiraling around in my head and sitting there like brewing. Like all I had to do was sit down and start writing. But timing was important, I think, because of the fact that my son was a little bit older when I started to implement the craziness. And also, what I think I've done along the way is prayer. I cry when I need to, because I think not having a huge support structure has also meant that I have to face a lot of those challenges on my own. And I think also meditating. When I say meditating, I mean listening to very sort of like soothing kind of music and falling asleep to it. It could be like music with background raindrops falling, or soft river flows, streams flowing, things like that. You know, I think that's what I do to help manage the stress of the craziness.
I think it quiets your mind a little bit too, doesn't it?
Yeah. Otherwise,
I
you know
know.
what, you can get analysis paralysis as well, because you're waiting for the perfect time or the circumstances to be perfect, or the timing to be perfect to implement whatever it is that you're going to do next. And I had to learn along the way that there is no such thing as perfect time. There is no such thing as a perfect time. You've got to just go with it and trust yourself. Learn to trust your own intuition. There's what I also discovered along the way is that there's aspects of yourself that want to be expressed. Teaching is very rewarding, but it's also very limiting, in the sense that as time has progressed, we've become very limiting with our like safeguarding protocols and red tape and things like that, which has restricted education a lot. I mean, there's obviously a lot of positives to it, but there's also negative aspects to it as well. Initially, when I went into teaching, you could be very expressive and spontaneous and things like that, which you can't really do so much now anymore. So it's become quite limiting. And just the diverse people that we are, I mean, with our personalities and characteristics and things like that, there's aspects of ourselves that want to be expressed. And we need to be, even if your goal is not to become a millionaire, it doesn't necessarily have to be the goal. The outcome could be simply that I'm going to learn how to paint because I want a creative outlet and I want to be able to express myself. And even if you paint and your pictures don't look like anything, they're very abstract or whatever the case might be, you're painting because there's an aspect of yourself that needs to be expressed. And just creating that platform where you can express that aspect of yourself. For example, writing. I love writing. I really, really do. And the only thing that's stopping me from writing the next book, which is halfway through, and it's taking place in Afghanistan, by the way, the only thing that's stopping me is time constraints. If we, not that I wish it, but if we had another sort of forced scenario where I was forced to stay at home for X amount of time, I would get the second book written in a flash, because it's sitting there. It's just waiting to be written.
I totally get that, because you know what? It's like I got so much on my plate and you do too. And it's like, okay, so I mean, I have to prioritize so much. I have to
Yes.
prioritize even getting sleep. And,
Yes.
and I and I slack at the gym and doing the fun things that I mean, I love to dance. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd dance 24/7, but I mean, it's just not going to happen because I have other priorities that have to happen first, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Talking to other women out there who are like on the edge going, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to jump in and do that thing that I've been wanting to do. I want to be a writer. I want to be an artist. I want to be a realtor. I want to be da da da, whatever it is. What would you suggest to them to do?
Do it. And
Do it.
figure it out as you go along. Because you could be waiting for the perfect time and to have everything in place. Like, you're not going to ever be able to create 100% perfect scenario, environment, circumstances, situation. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to take that plunge very bravely and courageously, and then figure it out as you go along. And it helps if you have a support structure, but don't be put off by the fact that you don't have one. if you don't have one. Don't let that be your reason for not fulfilling your dreams.
Yep. And you know what? I think you gave us a sneak peek to something, but I'm going to get you to say it very adamantly here. You said it here, so that means that it's going to get done. So I want to know what the next future sneak peek is into Tanya Burger and what she's going to do.
Okay, so if you are aware of, all my books are going to be geosocial. They're all going to have that construct somewhere interwoven into the storyline. Okay, they're all fictional, but they are based on truth in the sense that our children really are being trafficked. There really are geosocial situations occurring in the world. And so the next one has been written in Afghanistan, and it's about the displaced children that have been dispersed all over the place because of what's happening, the conflict that happened in Afghanistan. So the character, it's about her family and what happens to her family and where they ultimately end up. So that story has to be written. Okay. And then I think this is the next chapter, is that I'm going to start a mindset coaching business for estate agents, and I'm going to have offices in a couple of places / retreat, mindset retreat. And the reason why I say that is because South Africa is a very beautiful country. If I could create a retreat it wouldn't have to just be mindset for estate agencies, but maybe starting off with estate agents. Because mindset is everything. If you can believe that you can sell that property, you can. Half the battle is believing that you can actually sell that property, that you have what it takes to be able to sell that property. So, and I think I'm going to start the first coaching school in Dubai because I got the opportunity to live there. So I loved it. It was a wonderful experience, and definitely worth another visit, a prolonged visit.
Oh my God. I think a retreat in Dubai would be so amazing.
Yes. Possibly also incorporating it in South Africa with a bit of wildlife. Yeah.
Ooh,
Like a
pretty.
mindset coaching school / spa
Bring it on.
/ retreat. You see, I have to sell lots of houses so I could afford to buy all these retreats.
Bring it on. No, just find out the cost and spread it. See how many guests you have to make it happen.
Absolutely. We can start off small with a few rooms.
Yeah.
And just expand as time goes.
Definitely. That would be so good. And you know what? I actually think that real estate agents do need a mind shift because it's a very hard business. It
It
really
is.
is.
It's very competitive. It is very competitive. And
Extremely. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. It's competitive.
Yes. And there are estate agents that do resort to lowball tactics, and I don't think it's necessary.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us something unexpected and surprise us of something maybe you've done that not a lot of people know about.
There's not a lot of people that know that I struggled with learning barriers as a child. That's something that I kept very much to myself.
Wow.
And because of it, I think I was very introverted at school, very shy. I don't know if it was a hindrance as much as a catalyst, because I think, you know what, with time and age, I think I've realized that everything that happened for a reason. And sometimes it isn't so much what happens to you in life, but what you choose to do with it.
Yep.
Circumstances can be beyond your control, for example, learning barriers. But how do you deal with the circumstances that you're given? So the example that I gave you about the novel, when I was 16, I was in grade 10, what we call grade 10 in South Africa, when this teacher gave us this novel that we had to read, this young adult fictional book about the boy soldier. But it had such a profound impact on me that I forced myself to learn how to read. struggling for 16 years and then teaching myself to read so that I could finish that book. And then becoming so hungry for words that if you saw my bedside table, it's full of psychology books.
So
And to write my own novel, it's something to be very proud of.
yeah, so my husband and I were cleaning out an area yesterday, and he's like, "We have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of books. What are we gonna do with all these books?" I'm like, create a library. I don't know. Give them away. Reread them.
It's true. With time, you can most certainly.
And learn something new, because there's going to be a different message that's going to just come right on out of that book.
Absolutely, especially if they're inspirational books.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
All right. If we're going to pump up volume,
you could always bless somebody else with them.
Yeah.
Maybe to donate them to an institution or a library or a women's shelter, or somebody would benefit from them.
Yeah. I know. I took one, and I don't know if you can know this, but you can go to Google search. It has a little camera thing, and take a picture of one of them. And it's something that somebody just gave him. And I looked at it, and it's valued at $177. And I went, what?
They're actually appreciating.
I'm like, okay. I was expecting this thing to be a buck. I was like, okay, I did it on a joke. Okay, let's pump up the volume. What's like a song or two or three or how many we need that instantly makes you feel unstoppable, or just puts you in that zone of you got this?
I love very old-fashioned music from the 60s up to the 90s. And one of my favorite songs is a song by Van Morrison called Brown Eyed Girl. So it's not a very upbeat, like fast-paced song, but I really love listening to it, especially when I'm driving. You know, you can sort of pop along. Yeah. Exactly. That's one of my favorites.
Any others?
Do you know Cat Stevens?
Yeah.
Oh, I love his music. Sade, I love listening to her music. And you see, it's quite old-fashioned stuff, but nice stuff.
I'm pretty old-fashioned, so I get it. I like some hip-hop, though.
I like he's a UK artist. His name's Ed Sheeran. He's sort of more current.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's fabulous. Everybody loves Ed Sheeran.
Oh, wonderful.
Everybody loves him. All right. What about a book or books that you just absolutely love, that has changed your perspective on life or given you something that you really, truly needed?
I've always loved Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Love that book.
And the reason why is because sorry about the construction. He was brave enough to believe that the impossible could become possible. And he held on to that no matter what. And also that I can't remember the title of the book, but I'm going to find it and I'll get back to you. The Boy Soldier that I told you about at the age of 16. If I can find the title of that book, I would really recommend that they keep it in libraries, that they keep it in church, Sunday schools, wherever young people are going to be hanging out, that they should keep a copy of that book there. It's so inspiring. Of course, it was a book about courage and bravery, and it did have a very traumatic storyline, but there was a positive ending. There was a good ending to it.
That's awesome. And I mean, I believe that book inspired you to write the stories that you're writing too today, because it was traumatic, but there was a happy ending.
Yes, absolutely. And also forced me to learn how to read.
Which is amazing. And I find that when there's a lesson involved or a reason why, it flips the switch on everything.
Absolutely.
All right. What about a favorite quote or mantra you have, or two?
I have a few.
Go for it.
One of them is that everything happens on the other side of fear. I think the person is George Adair, and
Okay.
if I remember correctly, he says everything happens on the other side of fear, and it's
It's
very
true.
true
It is.
because if you're afraid and you don't know the outcome of what you're trying to achieve, and you have no guarantee that it's going to be a successful outcome, you can become paralyzed by that fear and not want to take the risk. And unless you actually take the plunge, you won't know what you're capable of, what potential you have, and what's actually going to happen.
True. True. All right. A superpower for just 24 hours, one full day. What would it be?
If I had a superpower, I would ask that my superpower was that I could turn money in paper into money. And the reason why is then I would deal with all the social justice issues that we have in society. For example, homelessness, um, unemployment, and poverty.
Wow.
So I would just go around and make things happen. I would just make sure everybody's got homes.
I can just
And
see the fairy godmother wand. Boom, boom.
yes, and that nobody was living on the streets, nobody was living rough. There were no such things as prostitutes, and nobody had to resort to taking drugs, and that whatever issues they were facing that caused them to be on the streets, that I could help them to deal with those issues. Not just by making it go away, but like getting them the help, because I had the resources to make it possible, by getting them the help that they needed in order to get them off the streets and into homes of their own, and giving them the stability and security that they needed to make a change in life.
After doing all that, you're going to be drained.
I'll have to go to one of my retreats and book it.
So, how you'd be running on empty. So, besides a retreat, how would you stay motivated?
I get inspiration by everything around me, and I mean that sincerely. I will go into an art gallery, and I will just be so drawn into this beautiful painting and all the beautiful colors. And I know you're not allowed to, but when nobody's looking, I'll actually just like feel the shape of the painting and the textures, and or if it's fabrics, the texture of the fabric, or the colors, or the pattern, or I get inspiration from going to the park. I'll look at a beautiful flower, or I love listening to the sound of children laughing on the beach.
Oh, yeah.
It's simple things. It's the seagulls squawking and going crazy. The sound of the ice cream truck.
Wait, I'm not supposed to touch things at a museum? Why do you have them there?
No, they have security guards. You can't, but I do.
Okay. Okay, you're talking about fabric and stuff. Oh my God, that would be serene. I didn't even think about that. So I love going into fabric stores and feeling the material to make sure they're soft and everything. And oh yeah, I'm real picky. Even when I go shopping, it's like that is soothing. You're right. I like finding like
I know, it's a very sensory experience.
It really is. My mother has a saying, it's just fabric.
Not at all.
Anything with it. It's just fabric, and you can recreate it to anything you want.
Well, sure, it's a blank canvas, but it's not just fabric. There's so much in that color and the combination of the colors when you bring the colors together, and when you mix different types of patterns and different fabrics together.
Yep. So yeah, you can just create whatever you want. That's what's amazing about it. I love it. All right. So, what's the best way for our audience to stay connected with you?
I think the best way is by WhatsApp, actually, because WhatsApp is international. Everybody's got access to WhatsApp. I know there's some other platforms and things, but I think WhatsApp's just easy. You can message and
yeah. So do you want to give information for them to get to you on WhatsApp or?
Sure, I'm happy to give out my number if anybody wants to chat. I'm based in the UK, so the international dialing code is 44 +44. And then my number is 7503-091571.
So just hit her up on WhatsApp. It's fun.
Sure. Any
You do a
questions?
lot.
Fire away.
You do a lot on WhatsApp these days.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
So-
the GCC states, for example, you can't do WhatsApp calls, but that's okay because there's other ways, like you can make a Zoom call or schedule a Teams call or whatever, So yeah. Many ways to skin a cat.
All right. Give us your mic drop moment. What else is there you'd like to share with the female entrepreneurs out there?
I think sometimes it's okay not to have everything figured out. Like myself, for example, as I get into it, I think of all the other possibilities that I didn't imagine initially. So you don't. It's okay if you don't have everything figured out. Just start, because once you start, other doors and opportunities will open up for you, and then from there you can start to imagine more and greater things and bigger things. But the most important thing is just to start.
And it doesn't have to be perfect.
It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't. And you mustn't be afraid to fail, because you will make mistakes and you will fail. Not wishing that upon anybody, but it's part of the learning curve to stumble and fall and say, okay. And don't be afraid to self-evaluate, don't be afraid to say, okay, I could have done this better. I'm not saying be critical of yourself, but don't be afraid to self-evaluate and honestly say, okay, I could have done this better. But also be kind to yourself, because sometimes you have to be your biggest cheerleader.
Oh my God. Yeah, you just nailed that on the head. You have to be your biggest cheerleader, because nobody else is going to believe in you until you believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right.
That's the mindset.
Tanya, I loved having you on here. You're so much fun, and so many nuggets that have been dropped today to inspire people. I cannot wait for your mindset retreats. I think they're just going to just blow up. So I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you when your first one's going to be.
I need to sell lots of houses. So anyone that's looking to purchase property in the UK, give me a call. You'll know that, you'll know that it's going to a very good cause.
I love it. All right, Tanya, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Female Entrepreneurs Magazine. I hope you found inspiration, actionable tips, and a sense of connection with our incredible community of driven women. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share the episode with fellow entrepreneurs who are ready to elevate their game. Remember, your success is just the beginning, and we're here to support you in every step of the way. Until next time, keep shining, keep thriving, and remember, you have the power to create the business and life of your dreams. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.